All right. So, fun topic was probably more, uh, I think, exciting for me, maybe exciting for you. I don't know. It'll be some of this may be new, um, but so what we're going to touch on is we're going to touch on some peptides and understand what peptides do. A little bit of, I'm not going to go real deep into this, but because you can get fairly science driven with peptides, but this is going to be talking about our partnership. We've been working on this for a while, and I would kind of talk you through some actual experiences for myself as well, utilizing peptides over this last year, and answer any questions. So I'll open it up at the end. I'll be able to answer most, but with this partnership, we're going to have to probably work some kinks out, just like anything else. So, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get into the overview and work down through the presentation. If you guys have questions, just like any other presentation, never hesitate to chime in. You can hit me up in the chat, and or let me open this up a little bit further, and or you guys can always unmute yourself and interrupt me. It won't bother me at all. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and get you guys rolling. So we Aaron and I have been working on this for a while. And the interesting part of this partnership is when we first started our business over 18 years ago, we were looking to do a medical wellness aspect partnership with our general practitioner. He was a doctor of osteopathic care. And we talked through some strategies and things of that nature and tried to work out a some type of partnership with him. He thought about going a cash practice, never worked out. He ended up selling his practice and going into a different direction. But hindsight's 2020, and we've always kind of had this vision of trying to fill a gap that we seen as practitioners and the application side of um, the medicine side of what we do, and never really being able to find that partnership. And here we are, you know, almost 20 years later, finally bridging that gap. And I think this is going to be, I believe, the new wave of preventative healthcare. The cool part with what you guys have access with us is we actually have all the science driven exercise science, biomechanics, undergrad masters. We not with the unregulated industry, we're not created equal. That's always been a thorn in the side for us, but we've always dealt with it. Um, we are able to understand, peptides and communication with doctors, blood work at a higher level because of our background and our schooling. So they took us through all this physiology and understanding of hormones and the application. And the funny part with this last year when Aaron and I went through this program ourselves, it really brought back a lot of my review of my education. So it's good to always come back and review. With that said, the medical wellness partnership with Impact Health Network, it's going to be obviously there's an educational component. We'll continue to educate you, give you guys what you need. But really, what we're going to try to do is give you guys access to really the optimization standpoint. So, doctor supervised labs, hormone support, integrated modern peptides if needed. So, that's the thing. Not everybody needs a peptide. A peptide has a certain purpose. If the doctor feels like it's a good fit for you, based upon your individual components, where you're coming from, and then it's going to be deemed, hey, this is a good solution for you. Then a peptide will be prescribed to you. So I know some of you may have seen a lot of different peptides on the marketplace, and obviously they're having a hard time with the regulation of this. So there's a fine line they're walking. Obviously, they want to give more access to peptides, but then they want to make sure that individuals are not getting peptides that are not what they say they are. So that's always the hard part. So what is a peptide? Peptide is a short chain amino acid that acts as a signaling molecule within the body. So to keep it easy and short and simple, they tell your body how to regulate metabolism, recovery, appetite, cellular repair. So there's different peptides will communicate with these pathways to stimulate different things within the body. So again, I'm keeping this probably really generic from a science standpoint, but I'll give you guys enough. And if you guys ever want more information, there's always more information. It's almost an information overload. So how do they work? So peptides bind to specific cell receptors. They will deliver precision instruction rather than overriding the systems like medication. So that's the cool part with it. So once we get into specific peptides, I'll kind of walk you through and explain because I've been through this myself and understand some of the physiology and obviously real life application that it will all come together for you guys. So how what I was just saying, why does medical grade matter? Because what we're seeing in the marketplace, because we interviewed I don't know, 7 or 8 different companies to try to over this last year to try to figure out this partnership. And our obviously integrity is always going to be number one, making sure if we expose any of our clients to a product that it's the best that they can get and it's safe. So what we're seeing in the marketplace now is there's a lot of white labeled peptides rolling through, and I know that they're starting to put some restrictions on these companies. They're shutting them down because with white label, you just can't control what's truly within them. So they're finding loopholes where they're getting products in the marketplace that are not pure. Will they cause problems? Who knows? Because if it's sourced and where it's sourced from, if it's sourced from China and they say it's got XYZ in it and somebody compounds it and resells it, are you getting substance that you should be injecting or consuming within your body, and that's kind of scary. But so this is why medical grade matters. Pharmaceutical grade compounds prescribed by licensed providers, individualized dosing, ongoing medical oversight. So you have this umbrella of safety and quality. And I could go back and go into the 503A. I think I sent the email out too, if you guys want more explanation. So again, we had to educate ourselves in this process as well, and it's taken us some time to do investigation, understanding of those. What's the difference between different pharmacies? What's the difference between grade 1 and grade 2 peptides and things of that nature? So it's been a learning process for us as well to make sure that we were going down the right path. So when we go into to peptides, and this is an interesting part. I had a conversation, I think Sunday, with a gentleman online, and he was asking about, obviously the GLP-1s, which is a peptide, semaglutide is one of them. There's several different styles of the GLP-1 peptides, and I just explained to him because some people may, it's not their lane, so they don't know because pharmaceutical companies are the ones who have main control of a lot of these peptides. They just associate it with a pharmaceutical drug. So I kind of educated the gentleman and gave him my insight of because he was looking to get some extra help uh, or understand because there's so many, I would say, different conflicting misinformation out there as well. So semaglutide supports appetite regulation, blood sugar balance. So when they first rolled some of these GLP-1s out, they had different phases of them and obviously different levels, and they stimulated different aspects. One, obviously, with blood sugar and diabetes, they were going down that route, and they've kind of moved that over into not only going after stabilizing blood sugar, they found it can help with obviously weight reduction, appetite suppression, and control. And so they went more towards obviously weight loss. So they've done a combination of things. It's going to help reduce craving and support sustainable fat loss if you set your environment up properly, because obviously we don't want um, muscle loss. And then the trizepatide is a dual action metabolic peptide, improves insulin sensitivity and metabolic efficiency. So what it does different than semaglutide is it's going to help with fat oxidation, which is a big deal, allowing your body to utilize fat as a fuel source. We can do that naturally, and we train or we coach you guys to do that naturally. And that's setting the environment up from the standpoint of not consuming too many calories, the types of calories you're consuming, protein, your activity level. So what we're doing is we're setting the stage for your metabolic, your muscle, and insulin response to utilize fat as a fuel source. So we do that from a natural state, but there's a lot more conflicting components to go into that when you do it naturally. But we can do that naturally, and we get people to do that naturally all the time without peptides. With the peptide, with the trizepatide, it helps accelerate that process. So it helps the body go into fat oxidation more efficiently. So that's kind of the cool part. And that's what I told the guy online. I said, hey, if you're going to do any of them, I would recommend trizepatide because of the fat oxidation aspect of it. So now we're going to go into some other different peptides, and I've been exposed to all these. Well, there's probably one or two that I haven't consumed or haven't been exposed to, and I'll tell you that. I'll be transparent. Um, Obviously, I know the GLP ones very well, educated myself very well. We work with clients who are on them and who are not. So we're very versed in those peptides. Testosterone is another peptide. It stimulates growth hormone pathways and it supports lean muscle mass, healthier body composition. So it helps with the stimulation of growth hormone pathways and growth hormone naturally. As we age, our production of growth hormone starts to decline. Other factors can impact that as well. So our whole system. What I'm saying there is if your hormones are off a little bit, or if you're because I'm throwing these around very generic because most of the things I'm talking about are hormones. Uh, so if your system's off, thyroid's off, or things like that, or stress level, um, your body, the ecosystem gets off, and when your ecosystem gets off, it's not working in harmony. Other parts start picking up. They're doing more work to compensate. And sometimes what happens if your system's off, your growth hormone uh, is reduced as well. Stress can impact that. Your sleep can impact that. Lean tissue can impact that. Resistance training can impact that. Everything that I just talked over can impact your growth hormone. And again, as we age, the natural production of growth hormone is reduced. Side effects of that: less ability to put lean tissue on, metabolic process drops, your your system hormonally does not work as well if one of the components is not functioning correctly. And then celamorelin is another version. The difference between these peptides that stimulate growth hormone is how fast they stimulate it, how long. And I didn't go into that because that's more of a higher level component, is the types of peptides that stimulate the growth hormone may have a longer activation aspect to it or a shorter activation. What I'm saying there is they may stimulate it quickly or they may stimulate it slow and steady throughout an extended period of time. Again, that's kind of a generic oversight, but there's reasoning for each. The celamorelin is actually one I'm more familiar with. I've been on it for over a year now. Uh, it encourages natural growth hormone production, improves recovery, sleep, and vitality, helps with muscle mass, metabolic process. I started on this when Aaron and I started our optimization journey because my growth hormone was really low and my Testosterone was really low, and I was actually in Hashimoto's. I I knew I had a, I'll get off subject a little bit and then we'll go to the next. But right when I turned around 40, I went to the doctor and got a generic blood uh, profile because I knew I was like, okay, I need to get all these marker points. And I was actually 42, no, 43, excuse me, when I did this. Um, I knew, something was not perfect because I was pretty in tune with my body. I was not recovering as I was. It was a little bit harder to put muscle mass on. I tried to lean down and instead of percentage of body fat continually to change, I hit a level point. So I hit around 9% body fat and I couldn't get under it. And I used to be able to get under that. I kept dropping lean tissue if I tried to get under it, which was kind of odd. But anyway, I went in and got a I would say a generic, what most doctors will give you, blood work. And my thyroid was really, really, I don't say really, really, they would call it sluggish, low, outside the parameters of normal. So he wanted to put me on Synthroid, and I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. There's something else going on. So, I, Aaron and I had already had this conversation, and we've seen this optimization and higher level access to practitioners and doctors who could help kind of turn back the clock. And we knew we wanted to invest in it. So I said, hey, no, I'll just keep, doing my thing and trying to figure it out on my own. Because I really didn't want to go on Synthroid. And when we finally hired this other company and started this process, of course they diagnosed me with Hashimoto's. Autoimmune response. My antibodies were off. They were attacking each. So my thyroid was functioning a low amount, but it was producing the antibodies and a good amount of antibodies, almost too many. What the antibodies were doing is were attacking each other. So it was not working properly. So they prescribed Celamorelin to get my growth hormone up. They prescribed some supplementation for my thyroid, and I actually am on a medication for a prescription for thyroid. It's not a thyroid medication. It actually kills the antibodies and it levels me out. I actually am. They finally got me out of Hashimoto's, and my thyroid is functioning as good as it's going to function, which is kind of cool. So I did some reverse aging, and they fixed some of the systems that were broke within. But they used the peptides, and none of the prescription I have is not a prescription for thyroid. But if you look it up, they have used it for to help patients who have Hashimoto's. What it does is it kills or pulls back your production of antibodies. Um, so I'm pretty familiar with the Celamorelin. I think they had Aaron on the Tesamorelin, but there's just a different um, response when you take it. So one is hits the growth hormone quick. The other one is slow release. So it's just for purposes and individual needs. This next one, NAD, you guys may have heard of this. We have not utilized it. Now I've had clients because I have a couple of my male clients they chose to do the same company that Aaron and I utilized. We just couldn't build a partnership with them. They did that a la carte. But I don't have a lot of experience with NAD, but it's critical for cellular energy, mitochondria health, and it supports focus, endurance, and healthy aging. So I have a client on it. Again, I don't have a ton of experience utilizing this myself. Now, glutathione is another one. It's naturally produced in the body. Same thing with just growth hormone and most of our hormones. As we start aging, the production starts to be decreased, and for a multitude of reasons. So glutathione is the body's master antioxidant. It supports detoxification and cellular resilience. The cool part is Aaron and I have been on the glutathione for all this past year, and I was just talking with June, and knock on wood, we've gotten a touch of the kids bring these flus and other things home on a consistent basis. It is what it is. We've never. truly gone down since we've been on this last year. What I'm saying is we'll get a touch of it, we'll get some side effects, and we've not actually fully ran the 100 and whatever fever and been laid up because I think because we've been on this glutathione and again it's a antioxidant that helps keep the immune system functioning better. So pretty familiar with this, and this is one of those peptides that it's just a general one that most people can take for health purposes. It's most of the time it's not prescribed for. And there are certain situations that somebody has some detoxification issues that show up in really specific blood work. They would put individuals on glutathione, and then the other one's just a blanket of health because again, as we age, we stop producing this at a level that's sufficient. And the other thing is our environmental toxins are very high nowadays. We're exposed to all kind of chemicals, and the glutathione helps obviously with that detoxification. So I just touched on a couple. There's a lot more peptides. There's a ton more. The ones I talked about, I have more experience with, and we've coached individuals with and or experienced utilizing them for specific purposes ourselves. So how does this fit our program? Peptides enhance training, nutrition recovery all together. It works as one unit. They're a tool just like anything that we bring in. You would say, maybe a supplement would be a tool. This is really way, way more specific than a supplement because it actually stimulates components within the body. Now, some supplements are a little bit more generalized because how we methylate can it really impact supplementation. The interesting part is we did, even with this optimization program, we had specific supplements because one of the supplements I take is for my thyroid. There's a couple different ones, that I take for not only my testosterone, my thyroid, and we get them all from Fullscript, which Fullscript sources all the top level. They do so everyone all the supplements they sell on their marketplace are legit supplements. That's, you want to look for things like that. So if you have questions about that, let us know. But supplements really, there's some general ones that can cover health, just like I was talking about the glutathione, and I would have probably even put celamrelin, celamrelin's lower level in that framework of just general health as we age, specifically anybody past 40. So there's certain supplements I would probably categorize the same way for general health, some essential fatty acids, things of that nature. Vitamin D would be another one. But again, peptides are a tool. It's not a shortcut. What it's going to do is enhance the process and accelerate the process in some cases, or make the system work more efficient. For myself, like I said, when I was 43 and I knew my thyroid was not working properly. The other thing I just didn't take in consideration because I hadn't done my testosterone, nor did I do it that when I was at the doctor, nor did he ask me if I should do it, which is a whole nother issue. And I think they're going to break that cycle with testosterone. It got a bad rap. I would say for men, because again, women's hormones there's a lot more play. You guys suffer a lot more than men, but men do suffer. We're seeing it now. Most average men past 35 are low testosterone. So when I got all of my blood work when I was 43, he didn't even ask me about testosterone, nor did I think about it. When I did get it here over this last year, it was 360, which is low, extremely low. So no wonder, my I didn't feel right. My body didn't feel right. I was pretty in tune with my body, but I had low testosterone, low growth hormone, and then and then obviously the stress on my thyroid. So I had a combination of things. Once they addressed all those components, I would say now I feel probably 10 years younger. I'm able to put muscle mass on. I feel better. I move better. The only other thing, and I didn't realize it was not on here. Maybe it's this next slide, but maybe it's not. Is BP157. So I'll talk about that. Let me go through this process, and I missed one. I didn't put one of the peptides on there that I think is a general one of the general ones that for general health anti-aging one. But next steps. So we there's a process we're working through. We have an intake process for this new program. It's a medical intake form. So we'd send you a link. You can fill it out. What we'll have to do if people are interested in doing this type of higher level, peptide blood work, we would book a Zoom call and go through this process with you because we'd have to send you a link. There's an intake form to get you into the system, and there's a process. We'd have to, schedule everything because you'd have to see the medical provider to see and make sure that things make sense for you individually. So we'd have medical intake, consultation, prescription delivery, and obviously we coach you through that process. We're going to be there hand in hand to help you with the process. Prescriptions are delivered at home, and we've already started that process. Erin has, so we're in our last month with the company that we started with, and we're progressing over to this other company. And she was able to order her protocol, and she got it mailed to her house, which is awesome, fairly quickly. So the other peptide I didn't and I didn't realize it was not on here. I should look over that one more time. It's a peptide called BP157, and you guys may have seen this. And I think they mix it with another anti-inflammatory peptide. It's a peptide that I've used over this last year. That's been another game changer from the anti-aging standpoint. What it does is it helps with inflammatory response, pulling inflammation down, and it also helps with connective tissue. So my uh, my 49-year-old knees feel like they're about 38 for most days. And this is coming from somebody who's put a lot of wear and tear and some damage on the knees. With the BP 157, it does significantly pull down some of the aches and pains you have from connective tissue. So knees, hips, joints are significantly better when you're on that peptide. It also helps with, and we found this out, there's an oral format of BP157 where you take it orally. Really helps with gut health. The injectable BP157 does a little bit. It'll pull your natural inflammatory response down in the body, but it goes after the connective tissue a little bit better than the gut health. I was hoping that we could get access to the oral because anybody who has gut biome issues, the oral BP157 is really good for that. But maybe that we will get. So we only had access to certain peptides, which I don't know. I don't know why or why not from that standpoint. So we have certain pharmacies we have access to. So Stryker's one of them, and I think there's two other main 503A pharmacies that we have access to with this program. But anyway, BP157 is the other one that is more of an anti-aging, anti-inflammatory that I think is really good. If specifically if we have some of the female clients we work with have high cortisol, high inflammation, we need to get that down in some format, and that just helps the process. So with that said, um, I am going to open it up to see if you guys have any specific questions for me. I didn't touch a lot on blood work. They have the male side blood work fine-tuned, ready to go. I'm hoping that they have the full hormonal panel, female side, ready to roll as well. We can do that. We've always been able to, over this last year, we've always been able to prescribe blood work through full scripts. Blood work is interesting, just like any of these medical aspects. There's some regulations around them, and the cost component is what it is. So if you go to a really heavy blood work panel, like Aaron and I have done this past year, it can get up in the 360 to $400 per, depending on how deep you go. So we we're waiting for the company we're working with to fine tune the specific requirement for the female hormonal panel so that way they can work them through that process. They may be able to get it cheaper. We can't do that. We charge what it cost us. It's pretty transparent, straightforward. There's some legality components to that. So um, we can do obviously, send in the blood work, but again, the medical providers are right now trying to fine tune that component to make more sense for the women who have more specific issues with their hormonal balance, estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. So, with that said, any specific questions for me? I know peptides for some of you may be new, some of them may not. I will say this, and I could share this over on you guys' side too. I've shared it in the group as well. I shared it to my guys group. Dr. Hyman did a podcast, I don't know, a couple days ago, utilizing AI. So the cool part is, and we have access to this. I'm gonna get on the list as well. With AI, we're going to be able to, and if you do genetic testing, which we're going to have access to eventually. They're going to roll this down to the tree to us because Aaron and I went through this last year. We did our genetic testing, so we know how our genes express. If you have that information and you listen, I'll let you guys listen to Dr. Hyman if you want to. It's going to get a little bit geeky on you. We're able to utilize AI, and AI can help us specifically identify the pathways that we need to go based upon our genetic genome and how we're expressing. So our preventative health care is going to be really, if they don't start regulating stuff too hard, it's going to be really next level here in these next 3 to 5 years. So that's exciting for us because I think it's, from my standpoint, I've been in this industry for well over 20 some years, and we finally started seeing the needle move in the right direction where there's a gap between the practitioner and the medical provider, and that's a big deal. But anyway, do you guys have any specific questions? Nope, nope. All peptide out.
No, I have a question though,
Yeah,
as always. Um, how do I mean? So you guys are able to get the trizepatides and all that stuff
we have
sent.
access to, we have access to it
Is it
through.
less expensive through you? I mean, I'm paying like two, three, almost $400 a month.
I would we there's so we it's a set price. So
Yeah.
that's another thing that you can't, from our standpoint, we have no control over.
Mm-hmm.
This company, however they negotiate with the pharmaceutical companies or the pharmacies.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we will roll out price, and it's going to be 3 month, 6 month components that match the packaging that we have.
Okay.
So how that works is, if somebody was interested in any of these peptides, they have to do an intake form. All the medical stuff goes to the doctor. All this stuff goes to the doctor. We schedule a time. The doctor looks over it, and we'll either schedule a conference call or whatever, and we can do all that. That's all remote, just like this, Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
And if somebody needs, or it makes sense from that medical provider, they make the decision, not us. We just have
Okay.
access to it.
Okay. So is there a fee for that consultation?
It would all be built into the package.
Okay.
So we will get all those numbers out to you, like what that looks like, and then it's a math game. It's like, okay, how much do you pay monthly in comparison to, because this is what we're doing. This is going to be part of our program. We're going to have
Mm-hmm.
options where when you come in, we're going to say, hey, do you want XYZ? We have access to this. Not now, it may not always fit, right? Because it may
Mm-hmm.
may not deem that person may not qualify, and or what I'm saying there from a medical standpoint. So the doctors have to be okay with those individuals, and it makes sense for you personally and the practitioner personally.
Mm-hmm.
so that's kind of the route that we have to go from it,
Hmm.
because they have to prescribe it.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Okay.
Yeah. So we'll roll out all those numbers. I think Aaron's uh, going through some of that right now and has had some conversations with some of you ladies.
Yeah, she and I need to have a conversation about that.
Yeah. 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 Just hit her up and again, what we'll have to do is we'll have to book a call
Yeah,
because
yeah, yeah.
there is a little bit of a process because we can fill out a lot of the medical intake with you, but it's a lot easier because we can send you the link and
Yeah.
it automatically populates within their software and all that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. I'll hit her up.
Yeah, because I know that unfortunately, but fortunately, the pharmaceutical companies have really pushed the price point up on some of these GLP-1s, and which
Mhm. Well,
yeah,
I'm getting mine compounded at this point because my insurance doesn't cover it.
I got you. Yep, no, I get it. I get it.
So, and I'm trying to find, and
I think you just have that conversation with Erin
yeah,
and and she'll
I
be
just
able
got to
to.
get it all in one. Yeah, I'll just, easier just to shoot her email.
Yeah, either one,
Okay.
or a inside the app, either one.
All right. Sounds good.
It's the same. I mean, obviously, when you guys shoot us messages inside the app, it's just like a text message. So,
All right.
any other? No, no, yep. So, I mean, from our standpoint, from Aaron and my own experience, peptides have been a game changer. I mean, it's I'm if it keeps going down the direction I think it's going to go down. My only concern sometimes is obviously we want to have regulation, right? Because we want to keep everybody safe and make sure that the products it is what you're buying, you know, because the supplement world just went to haywire years ago because the regulation wasn't strong enough, and then they got a huge backlash with that. So as long as you know they continue to push this as a viable option for people, the general population, to get access to with medical providers, this will be a game changer for our healthcare. And it's going to turn more into preventative like it should be, not reactive healthcare. Our systems always have been built on reactive healthcare. Let's give them a drug to mask or take care of the symptoms instead of figure out the true root cause. I've always had an issue with that because I've always been on the front side of it and trying to prevent that. It's always been frustrating from our standpoint, but that's a whole nother conversation in a machine to talk about. There's a lot of profit within that, and with sick people continue to take medication, unfortunately. So again, I'll dump Dr. Hyman's podcast. Listen to it. It may not be. It's going to talk more about how AI is going to be able to bridge the gap, because it's going to allow the doctors obviously to utilize that as a tool. The cool part is practitioners like us who have the education, the exercise science, and the degrees, we have access to some of these components as well because we're from their guidelines. We're practitioners. Obviously, we don't prescribe. We prescribe exercise, recommendations of nutrition. We don't prescribe medications. So we can just help educate and guide you guys because of our background and knowledge. So with that said, if you guys don't have any other questions, I can go ahead and wrap it up. But it's another tool in the toolbox if it fits and it makes sense and the doctor deems it good for you. From our standpoint, getting you guys access to it is a big deal because getting access to providers who do these things has been quite challenging, and or the 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 price point in these other companies that we tried to bring on was so high that we couldn't even present it to you guys because it was too expensive. So, but we found a good company that has the insight of getting it to bridge the gap between the doctors and the practitioners. So, all right. Well, again, if you guys have other questions, never hesitate to reach out. If you want other resources, we have them. So With that said, I know it was not 100% nutrition, but this is a lot of things that nutrition impact, from the hormonal standpoint. The foundational components are never going to change. Once you start mastering the foundation and you add other components like this on top of it, it just accelerates everything. Uh, so the interesting part, I'll leave you with this one. When we went through this, the program we went through was total optimization with genome genetics, and we did aging with our genes too, our exposure, and they were able to knock 8 years off my reverse age by 8 years with this program. They did the mitochondria testing as well. Ours was really, really deep. We're going to get some access to these components. I'm hoping they maybe bring in the ability to address gut biome as well, because there's some companies out there that you can get specific probiotics based upon your needs, and we went through that as well. So having access to address that is going to be important too. So with that said, I appreciate it, and if you have questions, let us know. We'll see you guys.